This migrant, driving his Uber, had the worst day. It started as a normal day for him, but the nightmare happened when three men stuck their heads into his car. He was robbed of his money and cell phone. He tried to argue with them at first, but nothing was going in his favor, so he had to give up his belongings. Just as they started hitting him, he immediately drove the car away, leaving them behind. But the deed had been done, and it showed in his expression how pained he was. These thieves didn't waste any time entering the store. They had a plan, but things didn't go as expected. The robbery was in full swing, with the two criminals in complete control, believing everything would go perfectly. However, someone noticed the commotion inside and called the police. The response team arrived quickly, and it was time for the criminals to meet the ground. The following scene is simply heartbreaking and shows just how far these criminals are willing to go. A woman was trying to withdraw money from an ATM, unaware that the people beside her were planning something utterly despicable. One of these individuals pretended to help the elderly woman at the ATM, while his accomplices stayed behind, acting like ordinary people in line. Robbing someone who could be your own mother demonstrates a truly shocking level of depravity and lack of scruples. In this case, the thieves had chosen a business in a busy area of South Africa, thinking it would be an easy job, but the outcome turned out to be quite comical. First, we see the main suspect's vehicle reversing, trying to get into a better position for the robbery. The other accomplices were inside the silver VW. The first criminal got out of the vehicle to assess the situation, and the second stepped out as a signal to start the attack. As soon as the second one exited, the others went into action, but they weren't prepared for the exchange of gunfire with the guards. They arrived a bit late and failed to enter the establishment. Watch how this Uber driver in South Africa ends up in a truly terrifying situation. One of the men demands money, but the driver tries to explain that he doesn't have anything. The group's reaction makes it clear that this wasn't the answer they wanted to hear. The passenger in the back seat gets out of the car and takes control, searching the driver right there in the middle of the street. All of this happens in broad daylight. In South Africa, there are areas where Uber drivers prefer not to go, as they are often targeted by criminals. In South Africa, everything can become dangerous in a matter of seconds. This man left his car door open, and that small lapse attracted dangerous company. The criminals took everything he had, including the vehicle. This situation shows how, in South Africa, everything can go wrong in an instant. In the following case, the owner of a white vehicle had just arrived home and was about to get out when kidnappers blocked his path from behind. They immediately ordered him out of the car, but the chaos took an unexpected turn. They forced him into the getaway vehicle while another criminal took control of the target car. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, until the new driver realized he was not prepared for what was coming. The owner's companions noticed what was happening and decided to intervene before the thief could escape. In the middle of the panic, the attacker put the car into first gear instead of reverse. With weapons pointed directly at his face, the man was confronted with a harsh reality, experiencing firsthand what victims feel when they face these criminals. Police were alerted to an ongoing robbery inside a store in South Africa. The attackers had no idea that authorities had already been notified, and that they were about to get a very unpleasant surprise. We first see an officer enter the store and, before drawing his weapon, assess the situation. Within seconds, other officers join him, and the tension rises quickly. The robber didn't immediately realize they were police, and by the time he understood what was happening, it was already too late. He dropped to the floor hard, like a sack of potatoes, leaving the weapon behind. His accomplice did the same moments later. All their aggression vanished after a complete failure. The police intervention was effective, But the aftermath could have been handled better. Some business owners began handling the weapon the criminals had left on the floor, which is a major mistake. When authorities take control of a scene, civilians should stay as far away as possible, especially when it is still an active situation. Any distraction can be dangerous when dealing with unpredictable suspects. This driver was dropping off a woman at her destination, unaware that just a few meters away, attackers were watching his every move. When they saw him stop, they decided to approach the vehicle, and the situation was about to escalate within seconds. But the man was not willing to be caught off guard so easily. With an unexpected reaction, he managed to thwart the attempt, leaving the criminals completely confused by the driver's maneuver. In a miscalculated attempt, a robber chose the wrong person to target. CCTV captured this man standing by the roadside, engrossed in his phone, seemingly taking a break from something, when suddenly another man, who looked like a regular passerby, approached and pulled out a gun. But the intended victim was ready. He immediately defended himself, swinging his umbrella at the robber, hitting him across the head and sending him crashing miserably to the ground. In this case, the yellow delivery truck was clearly chosen as a target. The attackers stopped at a distance and then slowly began to approach the vehicle. The delivery driver noticed the suspicious movements in his rearview mirror and decided to act before it was too late. His quick reaction forced the criminals to give up after completely failing in their attempt. Full credit goes to the driver, who did everything possible to escape and protect his life. He also managed to maneuver carefully without damaging other vehicles, even under extreme pressure, in a situation where every second could mean the difference between life and death. These criminals were chased and ultimately captured by the South African police. After failing to escape the response team, they ended up lying face down on the ground. They had stolen a Mercedes-Benz in the middle of traffic and in broad daylight, but their escape came to an abrupt end. A delivery man took matters into his own hands when robbers approached him. He noticed them the moment he stopped, so he went to his box, opened it, and kept his hand inside, pretending to check for something. As the robbers confidently approached, the man quickly pulled out a machete, startling them, and they immediately ran for their lives. A security guard was shot and injured while investigating an alleged robbery at a business on the corner of Pritchard and Moy Streets in Johannesburg, South Africa. The Gauteng police spokesperson confirmed that an attempted murder investigation has been opened following the incident. It is alleged that a security guard, suspecting an imminent robbery, confronted the suspects. During the confrontation, several shots were fired, and the guard was injured. The victim was taken to the hospital with wounds to the lower body and has already been discharged. In another disturbing footage filmed outside a butchery on President Paul Kruger Street in Poan, an innocent man was handing over his goods for safekeeping when one of 6 men grabbed him by the neck. All the men, wearing face masks to conceal their identities, took the victim's wallet and cell phone, searching for more valuables before throwing him to the ground and walking away. The incident shocked everyone, as no one stepped in to help the poor man. It looks like this guy has a misunderstanding about who owns the store. He keeps coming in, grabbing snacks, and walking out without paying, as if he thinks the store is his. And this isn't a one-time thing. He's been doing it at least once a week for almost a year. But today, he's in for a special surprise. The store employee recognizes him and locks the doors. When the man tries to leave with his usual swagger, he's surprised to find the doors locked. He tries to force them open, but of course, it doesn't work. So what does he do next? He puts the stolen items back where they belong, and then heads to the fridge to grab a bottle of Gatorade, as if that would help him escape. The scene seemed completely normal, but the women inside the vehicle didn't know they had been followed home by dangerous individuals. They parked as they did every day, unaware that danger was just around the corner. Another car stopped behind the white vehicle, blocking its path. Several men quickly got out and approached the newly parked car. The attackers began searching the occupants, and one of them raised her hands as they took their belongings. They had no chance at all. Everything suggested they had been watched for quite some time. The criminals were preparing to take the car and finish the robbery, but they were not ready for what was about to happen. One of the suspects started the stolen vehicle as the victims ran inside the house for safety. At the same time, the other attackers began fleeing in panic. Suddenly, the car came to a stop, and a hail of gunfire shattered the windows. The thieves ran for their lives, one of them even struggling to move. Neighbors realized what was happening and decided to step in to stop the attackers. The man who fired the shots does not appear on camera, but his presence was more than clear to the criminals. In the end, the suspects fought to escape until they abandoned the scene. They clearly never stood a chance. Full credit goes to that neighbor who acted in time and managed to save the people who lived there. Here we see a man taking something from a white car. A motorcyclist wasn't going to stand by and watch this thief get away. His persistence was clear. The thief tried to flee, but the motorcyclist chased him with determination, attempting to recover the stolen bag. Realizing his mistake, the thief eventually dropped the bag and ran. The bag was recovered and returned to its owner. Later, a red car had an unexpected tail ready to act. The thieves followed the vehicle into a gated community, stopped, and got out thinking it was their chance, but the driver knew the situation well. The criminals tried to catch up, but it was already too late. Fortunately, the driver's quick reaction worked perfectly. This driver had been followed home by unknown individuals who waited for the car to stop to act. But he was prepared. The thieves had to duck and run as bullets flew. Thanks to his preparation, he ensured the intruders retreated. The truck driver waits calmly for his colleagues, who are still inside the building making a delivery. Suddenly, a man jumps into the parked truck and grabs the driver by the arm, completely catching him off guard.
Don't worry. What we have in the bag? My stuff is good. What's in there? What we have? How much? Yeah. Don't worry. Let me give you this. I'll shoot you in the head. Yeah, don't worry.
More thieves then got into the truck, snatched the driver's phone, and took control of the vehicle. On September 27, 2020, thieves found the perfect place to attempt a burglary, a garage convenience store. The two robbers waited for the right moment to strike the unsuspecting shopkeeper, as soon as the other customers had left the store. An Uber driver in South Africa was robbed at knife point by two passengers in a terrifying incident caught on camera. The video shows what appears to be a normal ride, with the Uber driver transporting two passengers. However, what seemed like a calm trip turned into a terrifying experience. Without suspecting anything, the driver was suddenly grabbed by the passenger in the back seat, while the one in the front pulled out a knife and demanded all his belongings and any money he had on him.
All right.
Fortunately, the driver managed to break free and grab the knife while shouting for help. The attackers, seeing the situation getting out of control, ran off, leaving the frightened driver in the vehicle. In 2023, footage captured a cash-in-transit robbery in Visagang, South Africa. The robbers overpowered the driver and guard, holding them at gunpoint, while the rest looted the truck in broad daylight. After the shocking heist, they ran off with the stolen goods. A 45-year-old man and his family were driving peacefully in their car on a Sunday morning when, out of nowhere, an armed man appeared. The family panicked, and the driver began reversing to get away from the man while he pointed his weapon at them. When the armed man saw other vehicles approaching, he ran off into some bushes. Police in KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, determined that this was an attempted vehicle kidnapping and that there were actually 2 armed men involved. They explained that this type of crime has become very common against tourists. This motorcyclist was refueling when some thieves decided it was the perfect moment to claim a new owner, by force. But the rider was not willing to give up his most prized possession without a fight. The attackers thought they had found an easy target, a real stroke of luck. They were completely wrong. The attempt ended in a humiliating failure, leaving them embarrassed after failing to achieve their goal. Living in South Africa teaches you a lot about staying safe. One of these safety tips is how to avoid being carjacked. For instance, watch how this driver spots trouble early and swerves just in time. Look at that expert maneuver. I don't know about you, but I'm impressed. He gets away before the robbers can even get out of their car. Another driver soon follows his example, though his escape isn't as flashy as the first driver's. But hey, at least he got away, and what more could you ask for? This student was assaulted in the middle of the street. As she was walking, you can see a white car in the background. Then, a man appears walking behind her. She actually felt that something wasn't right because she looked back. However, the man pretended he was heading toward the center of the street, and unfortunately, at that moment the student let her guard down. That's when he attacked her to snatch her phone. And then the white car from earlier shows up again, waiting for him. As soon as the thief got the phone, he got into the vehicle and they drove off, leaving the girl with a trauma that will last a lifetime. On September 7th, 2018, in Johannesburg, a cash-in-transit van was parked outside, accompanied by security guards, waiting for the money to be loaded. The scene looked normal, but little did they know things wouldn't go as usual. When the man carrying the cash came into view and tried to open the van door to get in, A previously idle man in blue immediately sprang into action. He pulled out his gun and charged at him. Then, more armed men appeared, completing the operation together. In this scene, the criminals managed to stop the vehicle they had targeted, but they were not prepared for what came next. The South African police arrived just in time and thwarted the assault, completely turning the situation around. The thieves panicked and tried to flee as everything fell apart around them. The officers acted immediately and arrested several suspects on the spot. Others tried to escape, but the police quickly reminded them why they carry weapons. One of the attackers ended up struggling on the ground, facing the consequences of his own actions. They eventually confronted the thieves, who were attempting to sell the stolen phones at a store, and arrested them on the spot. During the intervention, the officers explained the situation to the suspects and asked for their cooperation, keeping the operation as civil and controlled as possible.
Okay, yeah. Alright, watch hom. Daai twee wat daar is ook. So daai twee wat daar binne is en hy. Ja, hulle is almal saam. Come here please. Stand, just wait there for me. Wait! Wait, I'm with the anti-hijacking unit. A vehicle like this one was involved in a robbery this morning. 3 men was involved in the robbery. So I need you to come here for me. You come inside here. And I need you, hello guys. Sit down for me please. All 3 of you. I'm with the anti-hijacking unit. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down for me please. I'm with the anti-hijacking unit. I'm going to, flat. I'm going to tell you what the problem is. That's it. Now, on your bum, my brother, please. There was a robbery in Bradell this morning. I'm going to tell you. Listen, please. There was a robbery. They robbed some people of the cell phones. All right. Are they trying to sell you a cell phone or anything? They need to put protectors. All right. So if there's inconvenience, this is why I'm not pointing you and making you lying flat. All right. All right. I'm going to get all the information first. And then, if everything is fine, maybe somebody cloned your number plate or something. At the moment, put down your phone for me, please. You're a suspect in a Schedule 1 offense, robbery. All right. So I need you to put your phone down for me, please. Okay. What is your name? Tsepo. And you? Tsepo. And you also Tsepo. Huh? Ayana and Tsepos. All right. Please don't run. All right. You are not arrested. You are detained. Who's the owner of the car outside? Another Tsepo. Which Tsepo? That Tsepo there. All right. Tsepo, are you the owner? It belongs to you. Your brother's car. He's not Tsepo. All right. I want to keep it as civil and as friendly as possible. All right. So, please.
The owner of a Porsche was driving back home when he noticed a car suddenly stop near him. Suddenly, an armed man got out with the intention of taking the Porsche owner, but he was smarter. He quickly reversed, accelerated, and drove away, leaving the armed man standing there, clueless about what to do. Chased by security, these guards can step in anywhere and at any time. The muggers thought it was a good idea to strike in the middle of the night, but it seems security was already fed up with their nonsense. It's very possible that residents had already filed complaints about these guys, which would explain why security was on high alert. Once the robbers noticed the guards approaching, they fled the scene without even taking the stolen items with them. The following scene shows why it's vital to always stay aware of your surroundings while driving in South Africa. The criminals tried to hijack the vehicle, but the driver had already anticipated their move and acted without hesitation, in true Dominic Toretto style. He made them look like complete amateurs, leaving them panicking as they tried to react. In South Africa, the police don't always have a good reputation, but sometimes they prove to be effective. There's a popular saying, the SAPS is useless until they're looking for you. In this case, the officers had already identified a wanted vehicle, and the pursuit was officially underway. In many situations like this, criminals carry illegal weapons and don't hesitate to shoot at the police. Even so, these officers risk their lives daily with the aim of making South Africa a slightly safer place. During the escape, the suspect made the reckless decision to drive in the wrong direction, a desperate maneuver that only hastened his downfall. The officers knew the show was about to end. In the end, they managed to recover the vehicle, arrest the criminals, and confiscate jamming devices used to block signals. A taxi driver in South Africa was assaulted by his passengers, or at least that was their intention until the driver gave them the scare of their lives. The ride seemed calm, but the driver noticed something strange, and when he turned around, one of the passengers lunged from the back seat, pulling out a gun and pointing it at him. Unlike others, this driver fought back, hitting and pushing the attacker. But what he did next would leave the pair of idiots traumatized.
Yo! I want you! I want you! All we got this! I want you! Shoot me! I want you! Shoot me! I want you! Huh? Ôi cho đi em. Ôi cho đi em ơi. Ôi that. Ôi làm đó. Ôi vô. Ôi ơi. Ôi à. Ôi ơi. Ôi ơi. Anh trời ơi. Ôi vô. Ôi vô.
The driver began accelerating, as if it were a scene from Fast and Furious, telling them that if they killed him, he would take them with him. The fear he caused the attackers was so great that they jumped out of the moving vehicle in terror. The driver avoided being robbed and gave them a lesson. In Lone Hill, Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa, an armed man approached two individuals who were calmly on the street. What he didn't expect was that one of them was a trained soldier carrying a weapon. The soldier drew his gun and fired 10 shots to repel the attacker, neutralize the threat, and cover his retreat along with his companion. The dash cam of these police officers shows how they are attacked out of nowhere while driving an armored truck. Luckily for the officers, the driver managed the situation and reacted in time.
coming off crash. Coming off crash. They're gonna shoot. They're gonna shoot.
Reports say it was an attempted kidnapping rather than a possible assault or robbery of the truck. Thanks to the officer who was driving, they were able to escape and avoid losing their lives in a confrontation. This guard was moving a box containing money in a mall in Durban. It was a typical cash-in-transit operation, but the day was about to turn ugly. Four armed men quickly approached him with their pistols. One of them struck him, causing him to fall to the ground, and then moved him to a corner. The robbers made their escape with the cash. Watch how this man faces danger head-on and manages to escape an attempted kidnapping in the most incredible way. On a quiet afternoon in South Africa, he was walking alone down the street, unaware that his life was at risk. You can see a security guard from a nearby residence who heard the commotion. He grabbed his weapon and went out to see what was happening. The guard, unknowingly, had stopped a kidnapping in progress, but in the chaos, he couldn't tell who the victim was and who the attackers were. So for safety, he ordered the man to lie on the ground while they waited for the police. A dash cam captured a terrifying scene, an attempted truck hijacking in broad daylight on the streets of South Africa. On January 29, 2020, shoppers at the Marab Bayad market stalls were caught by surprise when three armed men robbed a cash-in-transit vehicle. Even gated houses are no longer safe, and this raises concerns. Watch as the man walks up to this gate, looks around to make sure he's alone, and then breaks the lock with pliers. The lock was far from easy to open, and he struggles with it for several minutes before finally breaking it. He then enters the compound. Moments later, we see him exiting the compound, but this time he's not empty-handed. He comes out with his loot, a bicycle. What's even more concerning is that he leaves as calmly as he arrived. The entire incident lasts less than a minute and a half. In broad daylight, a group of thieves broke into a grocery store in South Africa. They quickly went behind the counter, announced the robbery, forced the staff to cooperate, and began gathering money and merchandise. After a few minutes, with the loot in hand, the criminals fled the scene, leaving the staff unharmed. Panic erupted at Lakeside Mall in Bonn, as shoppers scrambled for cover during a daring robbery by a heavily armed gang on a busy afternoon. The gang fired shots indiscriminately, injuring a female worker inside the store, and then fled the scene, leaving police scrambling to respond. In this video, 3 unsuspecting women fell victim to a robbery by a group of men who stole their cell phones before fleeing. The officers quickly gave chase, locating the suspects and following them closely. CCTV cameras captured 2 thieves on a motorcycle robbing a couple on the street. Just as the robbery was unfolding, a white SUV entered the scene. It turned out the SUV's driver had been targeted by those same thieves earlier. Seeing them attack the couple, the driver sped up and rammed straight into the motorcycle. The couple used the moment to run to safety, while the robbers panicked and scrambled back onto their bike. One of them, with a broken leg, could barely keep up as he tried to escape. Not even thieves can steal in peace. While this man is robbing a store, we see a boy crawling on the floor, picking up the bills that fall from the thief. Then, using his skill and agility, he manages to pass by the thief unnoticed, reaching the door and leaving with a little extra money. On March 25, 2020, robbers decided to strike a jewelry store in Westgate Mall in South Africa. The assailants calmly held the store employee hostage, keeping him occupied and preventing him from raising an alarm, while the other thief quickly went into action and grabbed the jewelry.
En dis net toe hulle intrek.
Ja.
A brave young man confronted two alleged car kidnappers with nothing but a stapler. Apparently, the pair of criminals had been following the family to their home. They managed to get out of the car, but when they broke the gate to steal the vehicle, one of the kids from the house came out and drove them away with a stapler.
En hulle het die hek probeer uitry. Was jy by die huis gewees?
Ja, ek is in my nou hier sien.
Het jy nie geskiet op hulle nie?
Nee, ek het hulle gegooi met 'n stapler.
Plaas het jy net geskiet, joh.
Sorry, ek het nie. Dis die naaste wat ek kon kry.
In the boy's words, at that moment, you don't think logically. I know it was something silly, but it's done. It's over. And fortunately, everything ended well. This woman, withdrawing money at an ATM, was about to have her day ruined. A suspicious-looking man approached her and showed her something on a piece of paper, then took over operating the machine himself. The frightened woman could barely move, but she still tried to defend her money, though it was futile. Just as she pressed withdraw and the money came out, the man led her away from the machine, and his accomplice immediately stepped in and took the cash. This footage shows how three robbers carried out a daring heist at a Johannesburg mall. This next video is a perfect example of a daylight robbery gone wrong. A white Hux pulled up to the side of the road, and the driver got out. Before he could do anything, another vehicle pulled up behind it. The robbers quickly exited their vehicle and attempted to hijack the Hux. But when one of them moved to the other side of the car, things took a shocking turn. The other occupant of the car was armed, and before the door was opened, he started shooting. The shootout lasted for quite some time. The robber who was hit couldn't move and stayed on the ground until his friends helped him into the car. In Durban, a woman was stuck in traffic when two men saw it as a perfect opportunity. They approached from the opposite lane and snatched her bag and cell phone from inside the car. But the woman didn't stand by. She immediately gave chase. The thieves thought they'd get away with it, but they were in for a rude shock. She pursued them in her car, and after a short chase, ran one of them over. A great way to foil a robbery. In Krugerdorf, a robbery occurred that left a man without his car and other valuables. The video shows a white SUV parked in a lane, when a black car pulled up beside it. The robbers were in the back car, waiting for their target to exit the building. When the man came out, he noticed nothing and walked straight to his car. But as soon as he opened the door and got in, the robbers started to emerge, forcing him to leave the vehicle without his valuables and drive off. In this video, a security guard collecting money from Danville Spar in Pretoria West is confronted by 4 armed men as he opens the back door of the truck. However, the quick-thinking driver spotted the danger and drove off, leaving the robbers and even his partner behind. No injuries were reported, and no arrests have been made. On March 13, 2018, in Johannesburg, a shocking incident occurred when robbers sneaked into a home to commit a burglary in broad daylight. The thieves made a clean getaway just as the unsuspecting owner arrived home and saw the unidentified men driving off. She rushed inside to confirm her suspicions, but unfortunately, it was too late to do anything about it. This video shows how a 21-year-old woman nearly got kidnapped. A van pulled up next to her, and the 2 men inside tried to force her into the vehicle. Luckily for her, it was her lucky day. Pure chance is what allowed her to escape that attempted abduction. This woman went through a traumatic experience right outside her children's school, leaving her visibly shaken. While she was picking up her kids, a robber suddenly approached and grabbed something from her. But because she fought back, the thief ran off within seconds. It's an incident she'll likely remember forever. This man was attacked by robbers while withdrawing money from an ATM, but he wasn't an easy target and decided to fight back. His reaction caught them off guard, but then more robbers emerged from the shadows, overpowered him, and escaped with the money. Definitely a sad ending. These robbers decided to stop by a bakery for a sweet treat before their next big heist. At least 4 of them had previously attempted to rob a bakery in Cape Town and failed, and 2 children witnessed the entire event. How terribly unexciting for them. The store owner wasn't willing to give up his jewelry when 2 men started smashing the window to get to it. He quickly lowered the shutters, and the thieves had no choice but to grab what they could and run. Definitely not the robbery they were expecting. The video shows a man returning to his car when he's approached by 2 men wearing sweatshirts. They snatch the keys from his hand and head back to the vehicle. Suddenly, 2 people start attacking the suspect's car, and the thieves seem to get scared and drive off, leaving the victim's car behind. The rescuers work at a karate school just across the street, so it's no wonder they were able to handle the robbers so quickly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next video.